One thing that we've been exposed to during this tour of Japan is different management principles or aspects. Can you comment a little bit about what you're seeing the difference between what we would term as Western style versus Eastern style values, or the way that people manage or support their employees?
What we've seen here is really the difference between, I think, treating people as if they were a resource, so something you build up, but they're useful in a context, and that's it. You see them as a material or a tool, as opposed to seeing people as something that it's seeing people as people. I would say you see people as people, and you are developing them because that's really the purpose of your organization, is to create a place where people can be the. It's almost kind of a strange thing to say, touchy-feely, be the best that they can be, right? And from there, if you have that environment, that's where the profitability and all the economic benefits come from.
Please talk a little bit about 5S, your experience with 5S on this trip, and how it applies to your industry.
I think when I initially learned about 5S, I thought it doesn't really apply to me because it tends to be more about the physical space, and I don't really work in the physical space, even though there are some ergonomic issues with that, but mostly the things are in a virtual space, so I didn't think that was that relevant. It was interesting to learn about, just to essentially complete my understanding of Lean as it is, but seeing 5S in this tour, especially the explanations of why it was effective, knowing that cleaning a machine is not just the act of cleaning to make a pleasant work environment, but also because it exposes problems, things that you can't see when a machine is covered in dust or dirt. Then that triggered the thought that we do similar activities in software development. So given a code base, I know that I can write that or essentially allow it to degrade to an extent that coming back to it, I won't be able to see problems. Like the complexity of how the code is structured can be enough that we no longer see issues. So by containing that, so in our field that's called refactoring, we can, which I think is a very close parallel to what 5S is trying to achieve, we can make sure that any problems that are being introduced are very clear, and you can see them visible.
Talk a little bit about the access you've had to managers, to executives here on the tour.
That's actually probably something I would say is one of the most valuable things about this tour. If we think about it, getting access to people with that level of experience, like we're talking 10, 20, 40 plus years, and being successful, like we don't want to underestimate how rare that is. It's very difficult to do that. You may run into successful people, but they don't necessarily have the longevity that we see with some of the people we've met here.